Some people, they put their trust in money. But as for me, my trust in the Lord.
He's a way maker, the problem solver.
When he says today,
nobody can say tomorrow.
When he says today, nobody can say tomorrow. Oh, as for me, my trust in the Lord. So
I take it, I hold it, I give it to the Lord.
Take it.
I give it to the Lord.
Briefly.
Mr. President, welcome back to Nigeria. My name is from the Ministry of Information. While you are in Nigeria, there is possibly need that some teachers trying to step through the education sector. Will you mind telling us how many are you, how soon are you coming?
Well, first of all, good to be back. Let me now say that my responsibility is to go out there to strengthen our bilateral relationship with all of the nations that we have treaty with. And I spoke to the education minister, so we have a gap of 6,000 teachers that were missing. And then I think what I did was go into Nigeria and ask for experts to come and fill in those gaps, to come and train so they can fill the void. So that to promote education, it's important that we get people to train our people, because we know that we have trouble with our sector. I spoke to the minister, and what I did was to go out and look for people to come and help to strengthen the sector so we can have more people. But not to go bring 6,000 teachers into the country. No, we have them already. We're bringing experts to make sure that we fill that gap of the 6,000 that are missing so they can be trained.
How many of them? How many of them are they coming?
Well, we don't know how many experts are sending, but we have a gap of 6,000 teachers, and we're going to make sure that we bring in technicians to train them so we can have our 6,000 librarians now qualified and trained teachers to go back to the classroom.
Our next door neighbors, certainly will be going to election very soon. I feel it's a very good example.
All right, let me say good morning, good afternoon, good evening to each and every one of you, especially if you are listening to this broadcast and also watching live on Facebook. I say welcome. Thanks, especially to people who are watching, who are listening to the broadcast via the internet. Wow, we got a huge number this morning. This is great. Thank you so much. Whichever part of the world you are, I want to say good morning from my end as well. If it's in the afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the print news show. Shortly, 15 minutes past the hour, we will be going into the show. Our guest this morning is Mr. Linford Gweh, formerly of Case FM in Monrovia, Liberia, based here in Europe as well. He will be my studio guest. He's known on Facebook as Afro King something. Okay, as Linford will be here and we'll be analyzing those stories that are actually trending across the continent of Africa and of course Mama Liberia. Let's say good morning to our people there in Freetown, Sierra Leone. Yes, it's now set. We all know now that in fact it's a round-off in the elections there. So we wish the two parties all the best. And our people there in Freetown, Sierra Leone, especially across Sierra Leone, let's say, please. We want a violent, free election. Please, we all know where we have come from. Yeah. Accept the result. Stay home after casting your ballots. Hear the results and accept it. Let's move our West African, solidarity forward. Please. Let me say, Mohammed Jaliba, good morning to you this morning there in Freetown, Sierra Leone. Asatu Bar, my sister there. Aliyu also is in Freetown, Sierra Leone. I was following the program this morning. I want to say big respect to all of you there. Ahaji Nja, I think Sierra Leone's a scientist based in the USA, but personally in Freetown, Sierra Leone, covering the election there. Brother Nja, good morning to you. Let's hope that you are keeping well there in Freetown this morning, you and your family as well. Let's say good morning to you, Lady Felicia, one of Freetown's greatest singers there. Lady Felicia, good morning to you as well. It was wonderful chatting with you yesterday, and not forgetting, of course, Fauna as well. A brilliant musician as well there in Freetown. So it's great to be part of your company this morning. We're just waiting for our guest, Linford Gweh, to join us for the program, the print news show. Good morning to you, the young minister at the Ministry of Gender, Children Protection, Max Kpakio. Good morning to you. How is the ministry? I understand officially you haven't started yet, but the portfolio is on your back now, Assistant Minister. And to the entire Gender Ministry and Children Protection, we say good morning to you this morning. You got a huge work to do. We're just seeing another story again flogging around here on social media about a rape. Oh my God. While we're running campaigns, raising awareness for one, we're getting another story. When are we moving as a nation? How can we be civilized? when things like this are happening in our community every day. Another 11 years old. I'm just hearing that. Another 11 years old being raped by her own trusted uncle. Oh my God. A Ministry of Gender, Children Protection, please. You need to wake up. Ministry of Justice, please, Councillor Musa Dean. Please help us to build a justice system in Liberia. We do not want a justice order in the Republic, which of course will stay going on. Justice order. Somebody can stay in their car, in their office, and call for another person to be arrested and put behind bars without any pre-case. No question at all. We do not want just the order in Liberia. We want a justice system. Wake up. We need to wake up as a nation. Let's tell our president to wake up as well. Pro-poor agenda isn't working at all. Let's see whether we can take our guest on video this morning. Linford Gweh. We're just trying to add Mr. Linford Gweh. It's just taking some time. A messenger is telling me it's adding. So Mr. Gweh, please put your gadgets together. I think you need to turn your camera or phone or so. Probably you need to turn your camera in the landscape version, okay? If you have your camera straight up, it's not going to work because mine is in a landscape way. Let me try it again. Finally, we'll go ahead. All right, so Arise Liberia. Let's stop this song for a little while. Let's see whether we can go to our brother. He's where seated there. Good morning, good morning. I think it's afternoon to your end, Linford.
Yeah, it's in the afternoon here, so I'd like to say good afternoon to you and to
Great.
our listening
Wonderful.
audience.
Thank you very much and welcome. Thanks for accepting our invitation at the 11th hours. This is so much interesting. It's all about Liberia. So thank you for accepting our invitation.
Yeah, I mean, for us journalists, it's never late or it's never too early because the news can break up any hour, and so we always in the readiness to render that service to our people as long as we can get the information across to them.
Yeah.
That's something that we're in.
Yeah, indeed. Let's take it from let's start first of all, by telling our listening audience or viewer as well, with respect to maybe we just want to know a little bit about you because I only told them a little, very little bit. Yeah. But tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I'm a Liberian, and um, geographically, I come from Central Liberia, Bon County for that matter, and then I'm a journalist by profession, first and foremost, and then I worked. I joined the media a very long time back in the early '80s when I was in high school. I was doing a high school report for my school, Haywood Mission, and then when I graduated, then um, I tried to enter the media, but it was difficult at the time. The whole radio thing, television and radio thing, and even the newspaper wasn't what it is today. That people just have easy access, they can just walk in. No, it wasn't like that nowadays. And so, I was patient enough, and I managed to go through. So I started working with LRCN, which was the Liberia Rural Communications Network. Actually, we were part of ERBC, but we were kind of autonomous, and then we we had the three radio stations in Banga, Fonjama, and Swedru. But I used to work at the central station in Monrovia. So um, and then the war came. When the war came, then I found myself across the line. Of course, we had other radio stations there, like Banga, Swedru, and Fonjama, and there were nobody operating those radios those stations when the war came. So everybody ran away. So those of us journalists who found ourselves across the line, we decided that we got to keep the news rolling. So we organized ourselves and we set up, or we started reoperating those stations, and I was opportune to be in Banga for a short time, and then a group of us again decided that we got to reach the audience in Monrovia. So we moved to Habel in 19 yeah 80 no 1991. We moved to Habel, and then we set up the radio station there, and that was called FM 89.9. Because we were like transporting the FM 89.9 those days from Monrovia to Greater Liberia. And then finally, after the war, to make a long story short, after the war, we went back to Monrovia, and then we had the Kiss FM 89.9, which I worked for prior to my coming to Europe. So that's just a little bit about myself.
Wow. Okay. So Kiss FM, I think yeah, those days then I remember vividly. The name used to ring. Of course, I didn't get to know you, but yeah, I think maybe you want to try that. I'll bounce into your offices because I used to be quite I used to be in the I can see in the youth department of the NPP, so I always to be somewhere around there. But it's great to have you on. Let's start the ball rolling first of all before we come to the local dailies that we're about to review this morning and get your own analytical point of views with respect to the headlines also. Let's start off with the ongoing appointments in the government by our president. What do you make of the appointments so far? Because there are some appointments that people are having problem with, and people keep saying, "Oh, we don't, this person have a tinted image. Do not, we don't want this person or whatsoever." But it seems to be things are going on deaf ears also. What is your well, feelings about how this government is being formed?
Well, it, it's not about what I feel, but it's about what the Liberian people feel, because I'm also in the business of working for the Liberian people. Um, but I think majority of the people have they have registered, concerns over some of the appointments made. As you know, I personally run a show like your show too, or the talking point, and on my platform we also discuss some of these or appointments. Um, I remember a month back or so when Councillor Charles Gibson was appointed at the Justice Ministry, and before his confirmation hearing, people raised alarm, and we discussed some of these things, and then we delved into some of the problems that people or the concerns that people had about Charles Gibson, and we discussed it, and there were a lot of views about it, and I think the president heard some of those people who were raising concerns, and he withdrew Gibson's nomination, and they in fact Gibson didn't. They, uh, the president, I think he's making some of those appointments um, probably based on what I would call um, you know I hate to use that word, but what I would call friendship, because they are, some of them are like old allies of him, some of his old friends, and they stood with him over the years, and understandably so. If you know people that people that you can confide in will always be
Yeah.
people that you want to carry along with you. So I think most of the appointments he's making is based on
Yeah.
friendship, and then some of them also based on partisanship, because like I said, people have stood with him over the years, and those
Yeah.
people, they feel the sense of belongingness, and he also feels that he's kind of obligated to these people, because I mean, you and I or any other people besides citizens, we didn't know the inside working of this. To they are one of these partisans who were promised that will give you jobs, and so it could be that it's just along that line that he's giving some of them jobs.
Okay, but well, I mean, I don't know actually in terms of your own analytical views on it, because whether uh, whether we take it politically or for the interest of the country, it would be good for any leader to compromise in terms of putting people in the right place.
Oh,
Basically.
I definitely, I mean, for me, I know that putting people in the right place is the best thing to do in the government, because this is a government, and when the government fails, it's going to go down in record that this government has failed.
Mhm.
So putting people in positions because you want to put them there will not do any good for the government. Yeah, the Liberian people, because the first thing is that the people that you are putting in government because they voted for you or because they were part of your party, they are not the only Liberian people that you are leading right now. You are leading Liberia as a country. Opposition parties or whoever, they are all citizens of Liberia, and now you are leading Liberia. So making some of these appointments, I think the president needs to be very, very careful, because at the end of the day, if the president fails, it is George Weah who failed. You see, it's not going to be the John Brown that you appointed. You see, now, look at Ellen Johnson. Ellen Johnson did not occupy the 17 ministries that we had, but she appointed people, and most of the people she appointed, they failed her. And so every time people say Ellen Johnson failed, of course, she's the head of the snake. So if the snake dies, she died automatically. So George Weah I think George Weah should draw his clues from what has been happening in government until now. Like I've always said, if no other Liberian political candidate or presidential candidate has learned any much lesson, George Weah should be one person, because I mean, he was vetted in our own African way. He was vetted the best way we can. We condemn me. I personally, we all talk about it. We condemn me, and we felt that majority of the people felt that he didn't make the presidential material that we wanted. Okay, so at this time, he wants to give credence to that suspicion that people had about him. Then I'm sorry, then it's just unfortunate that he can learn from what people told him. So he should be very careful. If I was him, I would be one person that would be very careful in whatever I do, because it, Dr. Lester Taylor said it last time in his letter to the CDC. He said, listen, you were fighting a political battle, and the people you were fighting on the political battlefront, they are still alive. They are still here. So if you begin to make mistakes now, they will have your mistakes to feed to feed on. In fact, he said feast to feast on. So they're going to be making feast on your mistakes. So I think the president will have to be very careful. He's already president. You can't. There is nothing that can be afraid of about your partisan. They will still be, as long as you do good work and you think the Liberian people want you to go for a second term. Your partisan will always be your partisan. So you don't need to satisfy them. I think the people that you should be thinking about satisfying are the people in opposition, so that you'll be able to win the conscience of those people.
Yeah, indeed. I don't know. We get no feedback or suggestion here. I don't know whether you also.
No. I'm just using me. I'm getting the feedback. I think your speaker is on, something like that. I don't know.
Right. Okay. The feedback is so bad. Somebody says, "Okay, let me do some adjustment. Let me do some adjustment here and see how it's going to work." Probably if from my end. Let me.
Yeah, actually, it's from your end because I'm just using my headphone.
Okay. Let's try it now and see. I hope it's a little bit okay now. Please continue to give us the feedback if the feedback is stay the same or not. But I guess it won't be the same because just done some adjustment here to cut the feedback. Okay. This analysis are quite in place, especially stories that are coming out these few days. People are saying, "Oh, nepotism is back." It's not like how it was fought, but it's more than ever before. But for the benefit of I think some of what I'm talking about right now, it might be one of those local dailies. Let's quickly draw out the New Democrats and take maybe one or two stories there. Just read the headlines and see. I mean, but because you as a journalist myself, sometimes the moment you read the headlines, sometimes the headlines will go with the body of the story, but sometimes the headlines is different. But let's take it from the professionalism, journalistic point of understanding headlines as well. So I will read the headlines to you and see how well you can digest and analyze it for us for the benefit of our listening audience. Okay, let's first take this story. It said let's say 2 days ago now. Yes, pro salary more. Okay, pro salary more than Ellen's payroll. Pro salary more than Ellen's payroll. This is I see the president and the vice president in this photograph, and of course the minister of state for presidential affairs and the foreign minister are all flung in this particular photograph here, where they have mentioned this the headlines here: pro salary more than Ellen's payroll. What's your understanding on this particular headlines without all even reading the entire story?
Well, I mean, it speaks for itself. If the payroll for Ellen is less than the salaries of the pro government, then it means that I think they have inflated the payrolls. It's like they have added more, because if Ellen government should be the benchmark for this particular thing we're talking about, then it should be something that is blown out of proportion. So I haven't had the opportunity to read, to see the breakdown of the salaries they're talking about. But because we know that a rough estimate of the Liberian and the whole government salary, something is around 400,000. Okay, I think monthly. I may not be right. I stand to be corrected, but I'm just estimating. So if the pro salaries is more than, or the pro salary is more than Ellen Johnson payroll or something like that, then something is wrong somewhere. That means it's actually exorbitant. And at this time, especially, I think what makes it more troubling is that this government has been crying foul that they took over a broke economy and no money in the coffers, and the president has been should I say, on an SOS mission, trying to save or trying to jump, not even to save, but to jumpstart the economy. So if they will be paying very high salaries like this, then I mean that people are even that the newspaper is comparing it to Ellen Johnson's payroll, then it raises concern, it raises eyebrows, because they should be sinking, or in other words, reducing some of these expenditures. I understand the budget. There was a budget that was proposed, and the budget was cut down roughly by 80 million. So if they stay inflating salaries, then something must be wrong somewhere.
All right, let's take a gist of this story. It says here the Coalition for Democratic Change led government has proposed a 9.4 million United States dollars increase in government's wage bill for the remaining 5 months of the 2017-2018 fiscal budget ending June 30th. So this particular budget they're working on now is the budget of the then government was operating on before they came in. So this is what they are saying: 9.4 million. Okay. Recasting the budget from the high of US $563.5 million down to US $536.4 million. The George Weah's administration adjusted the US $297,799,916 payroll it inherited from the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf administration to US 307 million, so even higher, 280,850, reflecting a 3.1% increment. And so definitely is higher. And okay, the approach contrasts President Weah and ranking ruling party legislators push for reduction in public official earnings. Yet it appears to be in working progress for the fulfillment of Deputy CDC leader and Vice President Joe Howard Taylor's campaign promise to increase legislator salaries and benefits. So this is where the problem is coming from now. Then it says here, let me grab this. It said the austerity measures the president is seeking legislative approval to execute his program and projects do not affect to government officials and institutions like the judiciary, legislature, and office of the president. So meaning, even though they told us that, I mean, he promised that indeed he's going to cut his salary off by 25%. And some other individual also came and say, oh yeah, I'll cut my salary down to and whatever. But does it really commensurate what they're saying? Because if this remaining 5 months is higher than what we expected, then even what they're telling us that they are going to cut their salary down, it doesn't make sense.
Well, I think I would have expected that the news we're getting now should be the president has, waived 25% of his salary monthly, and then other government officials are following. That's what I would have expected to hear in the news. And there was something you read about Vice President Joe Taylor making promise to increase the benefits and salaries of the lawmakers. I think that is in contravention of their own law, because it is clearly stated in the Constitution that the lawmaker, the sitting house, cannot do anything to affect. I'm not quoting it. I'm just paraphrasing it from the law. They cannot do anything that will affect their salary. In other words, they cannot increase their salary while they are sitting, and they cannot reduce their salary while they are there. So that salary is kind of fixed, and that's one part of the Constitution that is very, 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 very crucial to look at in a referendum, because it means that there is just no way possible on earth that the salaries of the lawmakers, as it stands presently, can be affected by any action. I mean, vote from maybe a referendum to change it, because the setting group cannot do anything to change their salary. They can't do anything to add it or reduce it. So who's going to do it? Because this group that is there is going to go, the senators will go 9 years, the representatives will go 6 years. When they move, or some of them will still continue, new group will come in. So then that group have already earned what they could earn and they are out. So nobody can change it. And the new group that is coming cannot, according to the law, cannot do anything to affect their own salary while they are sitting. So there is just no way on earth that anybody can do anything to affect the salaries. So I don't understand why would Vice President Joe Howard Taylor, if indeed she made such promise to increase the salaries of the lawmakers, probably it was an oversight. She didn't read that part of the Constitution. And then the second thing is that nobody forced the president. When the president gave his speech, he voluntarily said he was going to reduce the salary by 25%, waive the 25%. And then he even called on other government officials to follow his good example if they want. He didn't make a mandate. So if they increase, if at this time, if they increase just for the next 5 months of the fiscal 2017-2018 budget, I think it's, like I said before, it's troubling. And what makes it more disturbing is that the government itself has announced that it doesn't have money. So where is that excess coming from? Yeah. Well, it's the little money that we have been begging for, that people have promised to give. Like France promised to give 10 billion euro, which is around 12 point something American dollars. Is it that money that they're going to take to compensate? No, that's not the right word. But to let's say to fill in a gap, because they have created a gap right there. You see?
Yeah, indeed.
So I don't know. I think there must be something in the making, because if President Weah indeed knows that he took over a broke government, I think his first and foremost concern should be how to mend. That broken system. Yeah. Instead of raising salary, he should be talking about even reducing the salaries of government officials at this time until at such time when the country is back on its feet. Then you can increase the salary. We know they're working. They need increment, but not at this time, Mr. President.
Yeah, indeed. Let me just apologize for some of you that are trying to make a call. This is not an open mic discussion. It's a special show. We're reviewing the newspapers here. So please, I'm not going to entertain calls. We're not discussing a specific topic. We're discussing the news as it is being reflected in our local dailies back home at the online version. So right now we're dealing with some of the stories from the New Democrat newspaper. But I quite agree with you. What I was expecting is that, look, our president say, he's going to cut down his salary for at least 25%. Though up to now, we don't even know how much our president make anyway. So what I was thinking now is that, this is not a story that I wanted to hear anyway. Now, the remaining 5 months, if there's anything that was maybe shortfall, then maybe you could say, they're 25% here, and some of my ministers are going to provide their 25% or 15%. We will put it in the budget to just support this remaining 5 months, instead of us taking money somewhere that's supposed to go somewhere, or maybe that should have been included in the next budget. I mean, so that's why I am having a serious problem with it. And this is not a promise that I was actually happy with. I was happy when the president said, I'm going to cut my salary, 25%. Okay.
Yeah, everybody welcome that, because I mean,
so this is a propo. Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Propo agenda is starting to work. Although I don't even know the meaning of propo anyway, but yes, maybe. But then to come now and say, well, this budget is going to be higher. I mean, it is in fact higher than expected. An increment, and like what you said, I mean, by law it's supposed to be done. I mean, yesterday we had a little bit talk about it with Local 4. It has to go in the law. It has to be debated upon whether the taxpayer money should be spent in this way. But if it is not, because this is March we're in now, May, June, so we're supposed to, all the money is supposed to be spent also, but we don't know where the money coming from and how we are generating it. We're just hearing about it that it's being increased also. But definitely, because the vice president in hand is inside, she promised that her people, salary should go up, and that have they been doing it. Even Ellen Johnson said this government, they've been doing it that way. So It is so difficult right now for all. Even we can just talk about it, but I don't know whether they will listen to us. So they have to obviously, withdraw this particular idea. But let's jump into another story. This story here is a story that is still moving around, but then this is really another one. Jesus minister confirmation split Senate. Jesus minister's confirmation split Senate. This is a lady that has been designated. Let me read the story to you. Just short. Our listening audience, of course, and also your guests. Senators are divided over the confirmation of a senior finance minister or ministry nominee who responded Jesus when asked as what is fiscal policy. For members of the Senate Committee on Ways, Means, Finance and Development Planning, Thursday protested. Okay, let me read that again. 4 members of the Senate Committee on Ways, Means, Finance and Development Planning Thursday protested by not signing the confirmation hearing report of the Deputy Minister Designate for Administration of the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. Senator Geraldine Dole Sharif of Moserado County, Yombli Konga Lawrence of Grand Bassa County, Ama Zulu Jala of Bapulu, and J. Bo Brown of Maryland counties did not sign. It is my right to sign or not to sign, and I have chosen not to sign the document on the Deputy Minister Designate confirmation report, Senator Doe Sheriff said. President George Weah's nominee, Rebecca Younger Magel, told senators she earned Masters of Arts degree in accounting and an undergraduate degree in management with 17 years working experience. Her main managerial experience, Rebecca said, is when she served as an administrator for a church that had 500 membership, and because of my skills, the current membership is over 600. Good skills there. The Deputy Minister Designate appeared before the Senate Committee on Ways, Means and Finance in February, clothless in relations to the ministry's core functions. Ms. McGill fumbled at several intervals when making her presentation and could not explain to senators, for instance, what is fiscal or monetary policy when asked. However, 11 out of the 15-man Ways, Means and Finance Committee have judged the nominee as fit for the role. Following a thorough examination of the curriculum vitae of the nominee, exhaustive analysis of her testimony, which the committee has determined will positively impacted the government's pro-poor policy, the Sanitary Committee is convinced that Ms. Rebecca Y. McGill will contribute to the output of the ministry as Deputy Minister of Administration, the committee said in its report. Finally, wherefore, and in view of the foregoing, the committee recommends to plenary session to confirm Ms. Rebecca McGill as Deputy for Administration. What you're thinking on this story? This is
that's quite interesting. Now listen, I went to school. Yeah, I went to school in Liberia, at the University of Liberia. Started at a teachers' college, because at the time I entered the university, I was teaching. When I graduated from high school, that's my first job. So I was teaching. So I decided to go to the teachers' college. While there, then I got a job at LRCN or ERBC. So then I was so happy I switched to the mass comm department. I didn't graduate from the University of Liberia. Then I traveled to Europe. And when I came to Europe, I couldn't work as a journalist because I didn't have that paper. Okay. In as much as I had 11 years of experience as a journalist in Liberia, both on the radio and TV, I couldn't work here.
Yeah.
So then I had to go to study something else, which is maritime. I did ship and port management associate degree in shaping alone, then shape and put management bachelor's of arts degree, bachelor of science degree at Southampton Solent University in the UK. At the same Solent University, I did my master's in shipping and logistics. So
Okay.
this is something that I can defend.
Yeah, okay.
This is something I can defend. So for somebody who has that credential, not to be able to defend simple things, verbal explanation at the Senate hearing or confirmation hearing, I think that was something to disturb anybody, first of all. But I'm not trying to judge or Mrs. or Miss Mangill or Mrs. Mangill. I don't know whether she's married.
But it's a reality, brother. It's a reality.
Yeah.
Let's not judge
But
him.
yeah, having said that, I think, in my own opinion, the four lawmakers that refused to sign her confirmation, I think they have grounds. Like Mrs. Doe said, she has a right to sign to something or not to sign to something, because anything that you sign to, we all know in the civil rights world or as educated people, anything that you sign to, you commit yourself to it, you become a part of it automatically.
Yeah.
So if they feel that this lady is not qualified or does not meet the qualification, the credentials to become this deputy finance minister for administration, then of course they have the right not to sign it. You see, because I mean we are in a democratic nation anyway. You do what you do as long as you can defend what you can defend your action. You say what you say. If you can defend your speech, great. Okay. So if the four lawmakers feel that they cannot sign her confirmation, I think they have a right. But I think she was confirmed anyway, because I think 15 of them approved her confirmation, right?
Yeah, they recommend to plenary, so
then
they stay going to the plenary anyway. They're going to the plenary.
Okay. Yeah, so it's left with the plenary to see if they can revisit her confirmation hearing and see those points, or ask those lawmakers who refuse to give ground on which they refuse to sign. So I think it's gonna take days. We don't know, but we hope to see that. And this is some of the things we're talking about, just appointing people, because make sure the people that you're appointing in government, they are your representatives. The government is not just because you want to form or you want to fill a gap. There are people that should be able to represent you, that should be able to to articulate what you stand for. Take for example, you send this deputy minister for administration that cannot answer simple questions at her own confirmation hearing. If you take this lady and send her to some seminar abroad where she's going to meet master's holders, PhD holders, what will she do? And when people talk about these things, the people say education is not all, it's not everything. But time comes and then it becomes necessary that education is important. See what happened. I mean, she disturbed herself. I would say that, and she was kind of like I don't know, because I read that story. Yeah, I read that story and I was like, no, I can't believe it. Probably somebody was trying to make up a story. But here it is going wild on the media. So it means that she actually did it. And if so, the plenary will have to take a decision, and then they will decide as to whether the lady can be confirmed.
Well, and looking at her political background as well, 11 out of 15, I don't know. But this is where we are. It is so disturbing. For you to say you earned a master's degree wherein you did the economy, you read economy, and you did a presentation, you did a fine presentation of your dissertation and everything. For you to come and say, they ask you a question that should be at your fingertip, about just a question of what is fiscal policy at your area, in your own area.
That's what I said. This is just explanation.
It's just like me asking you now as a professional journalist and tell you, say, what is journalism? Then you can tell me, say, Jesus, and you don't answer. Yeah, you pause to everybody. I thought they may say, you got all the professional training and everything. You say you can answer what is journalism. So this is where we are, and I just want, because in terms of appointing reputable people to the right position. This has been the serious problem, even in past administrations and things. Misplacement of people that are not competent, people that are not ready for the job. Like you said, I mean, she's not only going to be playing with papers at the Ministry of Information as a assistant minister or deputy minister for administration. No, it's not only going to be perusing paper or giving paper to her secretary to sign or so. No, this is a woman that perhaps will be representing that ministry at international, organization, monetary affairs meetings and things.
Yeah, because sometimes these things pop up and they say, find somebody from your ministry to represent you, and then the minister necessarily doesn't have to go. And so then you make the job of the minister difficult. The minister will now start to scratch his head. Who can I send? So it's all about the prestige of the government. And take for example, you send somebody like this. Okay, I went to school in the UK, in England, so I know the English system. There are people who don't joke, No. Anything they do it seriously. So you take a lady like this and you send her to the UK to represent the government of Liberia, and she begins to fumble over simple discussion. Because, of course, when you go to these seminars, they might break you into groups and say, okay, you from Liberia, you are in groups, so, and then you got to go discuss. And your friends are, propounding, articulating the interests of that government and defending it, and you cannot do anything. You know what it means? You're gonna go on taxpayers' money, live in hotel, spend all the money on you. When you come back with zero.
Nothing.
Yes.
Nothing. The people of the country representing nothing they will get. But to be honest with you, if this lady happened to go through and become the deputy minister for administration at that ministry there, I don't know whether I should use the language I give up on this government also, but honestly,
no, trust me. Max, take my word for this. I'm telling you, unless nobody who knows President Weah is listening to this program or other talk shows, but anybody who knows President Weah listening to this program, President Weah will have to reconsider his decision. You see, that lady, the Mangere Nishi Bears, I don't know if she's related to Nathaniel Mangere.
Yeah, she's the sister to Nathaniel Mangere.
Yeah, I think President Weah will have to save the day by either asking Honorable Mangere to find somewhere else for his sister that she can be. Man. Because listen, we cannot gamble the interest of the nation. Is not this. No, for me, let me first of all make it clear. As a journalist, in my mind, I do not belong to any political party.
Yeah.
So let me make this clear. But as a Liberian citizen, I can choose a candidate to vote for. George Weah was not my candidate in the race. My candidate was Honorable Joseph Boaka. Okay. Now nobody has the right to ask me why I didn't vote for George Weah. Then I'll be asking other people who voted for him why they voted for him. So nobody has the right to ask anybody why you didn't vote for so person. But at this stage, we are no more running campaign. At this stage, it is all about the interest of the nation. It is all about the interest of Liberia. Listen, some of us live outside of Liberia. And for God's sake, we are seeing things that are happening. We know how things happen. And some of us want to come back to Liberia to apply those things to our country. But now, if we see things going like this, then it's like we don't know what we really want. So government is not all about satisfying people who voted for you or people who are in the ranks of your government. Nathaniel Mangere is already minister. Okay? So his sister to be deputy minister for administration at all cost does not matter. You can place her anywhere. I mean, for competent people in those positions. Because at the end of the day, like I said, if the government fails, my friend, the good name that you want, Mr. President, will never go. No. The good name that you want is not coming from your voters. It's not going to come from your people within your party. It's not going to come from your friends. That good name will come from people who saw that you were not competent to become president. If you convince them, they are your target. They should be your target. Now, I'm not saying that you should go around, I try to please my... No. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is Prove yourself, vindicate yourself, Mr. President. Vindicate yourself. People said Joshua was not qualified to become president. He was not presidential material. No, listen, let's take it on a larger scale. You see, Donald Trump, a lot of people, before Obama left office, he said Donald Trump was fit to become president of America. People refused to accept it. See what the guy is doing. The guy was appointed, dismissed, just like, you know, he's playing fun. Government is not fun. Government is about the country. It's about you and myself. Posterity. There is a song that says every generation will blame the past generation. We today, we are blaming the past generation for making mistakes. And this same mistake will continue to make it at this time. I don't see where Liberia will go. So, Mr. President, you don't need to satisfy anybody. Mr. President, nobody is going to give you medal. The Liberian people are number one. They should be your priority because you are president for a country called Liberia, not a president for a party.
Indeed. I'll read all of your comments later on, but please hold on there. For those of you listening, also trying to call me on the Skype, I sincerely apologize. It's now open discussion here. This is the show we review the papers every morning. We come back in the evening as well, do the same. So I normally just find a guest to come and analyze the stories as well. So that's why we're having Mr. Linford Gweh this morning, formerly of Case FM in Monrovia, Liberia, now based in Europe. And we're having him this morning to analyze some of the stories here. But let's quickly let's move forward. Go to the front page, Africa Conquer, to say of them. Thank you so much today. And the banner headlines here, which of course we may not go into, but we just say this about proclamation of this day today is a Remembrance Day, remembering the dead in Liberia, a decoration day. But we just want to use this medium to once again say, look, we appreciate and of course love all of our heroes that went, especially during the Ebola fight. All of you are in our heart. You are our heroes, and may God continue to shower His blessings upon your souls and life perpetual shines upon you. And whosoever you know, we all, whatever situation it is, you bereaved, or also this day make you to remember yesterday. Please, we are also with you. Have our deepest sympathy. All right, let's take this one here quickly. On the front page, Africa. Probably I would just read most of the headlines, and then you can choose one or two stories that we can deal with them. Rural public school in Bapulu Gola Forest struggling without support. Rural public school in Bapulu Gola Forest struggling without support. Okay, quickly to this. Liberian Association of Rice Importers recommit to price reduction. Liberia Association of Rice Importers recommit to price reduction. This is the number right now. The situation in Liberia, as far as the rice issue is concerned, prices are not being controlled. You can go somewhere, you buy your, I don't know, 20 or 15 kg for 15, and you go to another place, you buy it for $17. But they are coming out now that the association is trying to commit to price reduction. We don't know how that's going to happen and reflect on us. Okay, quickly to this. President Gweh urges cabinet ministers to implore based on competency. Linford, just telling you now, President Gweh, that if this call is to be genuine, then don't allow that lady to pass that confirmation, please. President Gweh urges cabinet ministers to employ based on competence. Okay, let's leave that. UN Special Rapporteur calls on Liberia to abolish defamation laws. Okay, quickly to this, I see the UN representative there sitting there behind the microphone. Liberia Chief Justice calls for speedy adjudication of cases before Supreme Court. Yeah, there's a really good call there. Let's hope we're going to hold. And another story follow up. Justice Minister Dean promises to tackle pre-trial detention. This is a serious problem in Liberia. That's why I refer to the justice to the justice in Liberia as justice order, because somebody can just stay in their car or in their somewhere and call somebody, say, put that man to jail, go take that man and put them to prison, put in there. They just put them there and they forget about them. But Justice Minister Dean promises to tackle pre-trial detention. We're going to stop that quickly to this. NPA acting managing director defends hiring President Gweh's brothers. There's a story that 3 of President Weah's brothers are now being employed by the MPA managing director. Is it nepotism or out of maybe just she's still acting or she's doing this one, so maybe she won the position, that's why. Okay, quickly to this. Daunting tax loans for Liberia's new ambassador to the United States. I see a young lady there sitting there who has been appointed, well, her name, Gweh Tita Gibson, as the new Liberian ambassador to the USA. But then she said daunting tax loans over her office. Finally, the new police chief calls on public to report corrupt police officers. This is a story. I read the headline yesterday, and I was asking myself, how can you, how will we report a police officer that maybe are seeing him doing something like supposed to be a corrupt act? You're telling me to report. How would I report when the police officer uniform is not even befitting? There's no police badge, no number, and thing. So these are some of the stories that are trending, my brother. What's your any story?
Let me see. Let's start from bottom to top. You talk about a police officer being reported. Now, somebody will have to define for me what they call corruption in that case, because if the police officer standing at the junction of the road,
yeah.
He has not been paid for 2-3 months. He got children, he got family. He himself needs to even have good time. Besides wearing clothes, let's forget about the basic necessities of life. Every human being needs good time. Okay, this guy lacks all. The only thing he has that he can control is his life.
Yeah. And
the guy, I'm a driver. I come to the cross. And probably a guy stopped me and said, "Oh, boss man," even though I didn't do anything, but this guy is hungry. He said, "Oh, boss man, you get anything for me?" I take something and gave him. Or let's twist it the other way. Maybe I violated the traffic rules, and this guy said, "Oh, boss man, you know you're wrong, but I got to carry to the police station." I said, "Oh, my man, I'm rushing. I'm going," and I gave the guy something.
Yeah.
Will somebody define that as corruption? Hell no. I would say no. This is a hungry guy. A hungry guy who is the father of somebody, who is the husband of somebody, has not taken pay for months. And I gave him something. I know somebody would define that as corruption. Yes, I agree. I'm not encouraging it. But look at the situation. You know why I'm saying that, Max? I'm saying that to compare the minister or the big government official who sits up there. You gave the guy gas slip. You gave him car. He got allowance, he got driver, what else? Probably some of them might even have houses that government gave them. But this guy is still stealing. This guy is still stealing the money that belongs to the state. And the poor police guy standing there, somebody gave him, you think I want to go to the police station for violating small traffic rule, maybe across the traffic line, the police guy want to take me to the station. I wouldn't want that, okay? And the police guy is hungry. I can give him smarting and we fix it and go. That's not capital crime. That is no state crime. Everywhere in the world, people do it. And let me tell you, when people talk about, you see the policeman. One night I was driving here without license, and definitely I left my driver license somewhere. I forgot it.
Yeah.
Okay? And I had to go where I had to go. The police stopped me. I told the police guy, I said, "Listen, I don't have driver license now. I probably left him my trouser or something." And the police guy asked me. Yeah, he asked me. So I turned and said, "Well, do you have license?" I said, "Yeah." And the good thing is that they can check. The guy he said, "Okay, I see you have license for more than 15 years. Okay." And I talked to him. He let me go. You can't call that police. I didn't give him money. I'm not saying that. But the policeman in Liberia, he does that. He can't go report a poor guy and say he corrupt. Okay, then your next story about George Weah brothers, his people being. I carried that same story on my program. A lot of my callers told me, people being called Weah does not mean that they are George Weah brother. I said, okay. Now, for experience sake, just to I know the president doesn't have to do it. I'm not saying he must do it. But appointing people of the same name, surname, at the same entity, especially in a country like they where everybody's kind of, people looking for points. You see? So why do you spread? I report that these people are qualified to work. If indeed you say they are qualified Liberians, some people say Ellen Johnson Sirleaf did it. She put Robert Sirleaf in government, former Sirleaf was in government, and Charles Sirleaf was in government. So Georgia would. Then why was Ellen Johnson being condemned when she did that in the first place? If the thing that says Ellen did it, George Weah can do it. So it means that since Chancellor brought war to Liberia, anybody can take war and start war and start fighting. People, we have to change. And I like the motto of this government: change for hope. So if we got to change, what is change? Change means you undo things. You undo things and do it the other way. Okay? If you use a wall with your hand and your feet in the air, you're walking with your hand, you want to change, you got to change with your feet on the ground and your hands in the air. That's what we call change. You don't change. You change. No, there is no half change and whole change. Change means change. You can't change part of it and maintain part of it. So I feel that if indeed those people are related to President Weah, I'm not saying they should dismiss them from government, but my people spread them out. Let one of them say a report, carry one to finance ministry, carry one to APRC. Because we know people will say the people are qualified, they are Liberians. We agree they are Liberians. So spread them, but don't keep them in the same entity. I'm a qualified maritime personnel. So why don't you put me there, but you put your three brothers there because they are qualified? They are not qualified more than me. There are a lot. I know several Liberians who graduated from a maritime university in Sweden. Okay. So and those people, Cyrus Gweh is one of those that I know. Okay, those are qualified people. So why don't put some of them there? In fact, one part of that story again is that one of the guy, the one called Prince Weah, is some PR strategist to one Malcolm something who is a PRO of me, and this guy makes $4,005 or $4,050, whereas Malcolm, who is a PRO manager, makes $1,067. See the disparity. And as I'm talking to you, I have a copy of the pay slip with the number of the guy. The pay slip number and the copy, I got it for March. You are supposed to get it on March 1st. So you see, we're not making our stories here. No. I know. A lot of citizens will say, oh, the people that are anti. What? Number one, like I said, I'm not a member of any political party. I can't be president of Liberia. So why would I be anti-WEA or anti-CDC? No.
Well,
and that's because if I say CDC should move to or WEA should not be president, am I going to be president? No, I cannot be. I don't want to be. I'm comfortable being what I am. Ordinary person, ordinary individual like you and myself, citizen, fine. That's what I want to be. Okay? Yeah. And then your next story?
Yeah, just to enlighten the minds of our people, let me draw you the post that Cecilia Coffee Brown, the acting managing director, posted the last time before this story came out. She said, I had the distinguished honor to hosting the siblings of, in fact, she said, hashtag siblings of the President of Liberia, His Excellency George Manuel Weah. They paid a courtesy call on my office at the National Port Authority headquarters. Their visit was warm and cordial. So that's in fact what prompted this particular story from FPA and FPA to actually come out with this story. Now, this is what it says here. When the acting managing director of the National Port Authority opted to employ brothers of President George Manuel Weah at Liberia's economic gateway, she claimed to have acted based on the directive of the Liberian leader. Although the executive has yet to refute Cecilia Coffee Brown actions, which points out to blatant justification for acts of nepotism by the new government that dispersed the ramifications of a corrupt system. She again on Monday, March the 12th, defended her actions on a local radio talk show, saying if she should make the similar decision, she would make it 10 more times without looking back. First of all, I think the president must have trusted my judgment when he hired me to work. If I need to make a decision, I am not going to the president to ask because we have to respect him, his human dignity, says Cecilia Coffee Brown. Coffee Brown crossed carpet to the leading opposition political party at the latter stage of the 2017 elections campaign as the Coalition for Democratic Change crusaded against nepotism, waste, and abuse of power, amongst several other missteps by its predecessor. However, a recent front page Africa investigation uncovered what appeared to be a major case of payroll padding, corruption, and allegations of nepotism and mismanagement at the Free Port of Monrovia. So this is it. It's a clear story. There's nothing here that anybody is making up to say. She said, I mean, she can do it, and if you have to do it, she will have to do it 10 more times, that with no regret. But I agree with you. It's not an easy battle. I remember during the debate, I was in Liberia, the first presidential debate. The question came out, and they asked them, those that were there. Unfortunately, he wasn't there. They asked them as to, in terms of fighting nepotism, you know, what will you do about your immediate family, giving them maybe first preference before? Some of them answer, like I remember Councillor Bronskin, he said that, well, if I will fight it robustly, that I will be very careful to employ anybody or any family member or to appoint them as quickly as possible. Magdala Cooper, who of course she got so silent I can't even hear from her. She also spoke very kindly about fighting nepotism, that she'll have to scrutinize and make sure that indeed there will be no political ramification or so. The vice president, then former vice president Joseph Boakai, he said, well, I mean, if the individual is qualified to do the work, and of course we go by married and demarried, then either they are hired or not. But it's a very, very difficult situation in Liberia to fight nepotism, because this is where we are, and I quite agree with you. Instead of chunking them in one place and looking at the salary structure the way you just explained now, I just hearing that one. If that is the case now, it is disturbing. It is disturbing. It is disturbing.
Well, you see, like I said, it wouldn't take one alien to come from outer space and put the president down and advise him and tell him, do this, do this, do this. I think the president, this president has been prepared for the past 12 years to become president. And so he may have had all of the acts in place. And when people start to say it's too early to condemn the government, then I also want to ask him if it's too early to praise the government. Because what happens here is that this didn't happen by accident. The election of President was not accident. It was something that he went through the system. He went through the process, and he knew. It's like the Lone Star of Liberia trying to train and qualify for the World Cup. And then you go through all the training, you play all your matches or qualify matches, and then finally you qualify. Then they match you against Brazil. Then you say, then you can perform. You say, oh, it's too. I think it's too hard for me to play Brazil. So President Weah did not become president overnight. He went through the process, and he should have been prepared. Even as we speak, 2 months, half of the government should have been formed, and people that we know can do the work should have been prepared, ready on hand. Now, that's besides the point. He can put in whoever he wants to put in. But is he considering the condition? Because let me tell you, the international community, you think people don't have money to give us? I live in Norway. I live in Norway. President Johnson visited Norway 2 times. I was with her. I'm the Secretary General for the Liberian Associations in Norway. When the president came the first time, I read a statement on behalf of the Liberian people. I give it to her. The second time she came for a Nobel Peace Prize, with her. In fact, it was through my instrumentality. When Radio Liberia Noko 4 wanted this thing to be aired, he asked me. I was in school in the UK at the time. I had to leave my school to come here in November just for that program, for the president, for it to be aired. Through my instrumentality, I had to work with the Norwegian Broadcasting Corporation to air it to Liberia. Now, so the president had that much respect here, and the Norwegian people were willing to help Liberia. I'm telling you, living true. This is a country that is looking for countries in the world to help. There are a lot of opportunities there, but they do it on condition. The condition is very simple. Transparency in government, that's the condition Norway sets. Because there is nothing hidden. I can go online now, I'll see everything about the king. Everything about the king, I can see it. Everything about the prime minister, I can see it. There's nothing hidden. The prime minister makes one little mistake, we all will know. See? Yeah. But Liberia, our leaders are untouchables. They call it untouchables because they do things nobody dare to ask them. As we're talking, a lot of citizens will say, oh, you respect the president, you're this, you're that. They don't know that it is for their cause that we say all these things. Let me tell you, where I live, at least by the grace of God, I can't go to sleep hungry. I can't wake up hungry. If I'm sick, I don't need to have physical cash to get treatment. No. If I just call the ambulance now, 2 or 3 will come. They will take me. I'm not posting. But you think, we're not saying all these things for ourselves, but for our family and for you in Liberia. In Liberia becomes a good place, some of us will not come nowhere, we'll be there. That's why the white people don't let them move from their home to go, because they got everything. So why is it so difficult? You see, putting your family there in a job is not hard, but don't do it in a way that you got a lot of hungry people in Liberia, you got a lot of jobless people in Liberia. Don't put one job too. So if you just put all your family there, the problem will come. You can put one family, you president already. You get money, you can get your family money. But there are people who don't even have the 5 cents. So what you do, put one of your brother here, after maybe 2, 3, 4 months, you put one somewhere. Then after another time, when people forgetting a little bit, at the same time you employ other people who are getting, I'm just trying to make it a simple way, So, but if you take all 3 of them and punch them in one place, trouble coming. People start talking. You see, one of the poor overly qualified people say, oh no, and the president, because you're the president.
Let's welcome all of you guys that are tuning in, especially watching live from Liberia. Some of you have access. I see Sheikh Mustafa Kuyate, being a long-time big brother, have access. My understanding is that actually somebody very, very close to the president do listen or monitor my show as well. So let's hope you are also. I know somebody in the house right now. I
hope they do it. I hope.
I can see somebody with.
Take this message to the president.
Linford, I can see somebody now. 2 persons actually watching live that I know definitely the message, whatever we say, will be relayed to the president also. And this is it's the irony. I mean, the thing here is that what Linford is saying. If we shut our mouths today, for some of us that know what we're talking about, and we let it go without talking, obviously we will, prosperity will hold us responsible. And I think this is where I seriously, Linford, on a serious note, just before we come to the next story, I am disturbed how the oppositions in Liberia are so silent. I mean, we have more than 10 political parties that went to these elections. They all were speaking before the election.
I will tell you why.
They all were saying things. I mean, why is it? Is everything okay? Are they all just saying?
I will tell you why, Max. I will tell you why. But just learn.
Yeah, but it's frustrating. I mean, should we wait for 2013, 2023 before we can see the re-emergence of political parties also, or for opposition political parties to be established also? Is everything okay? Even if everything is okay, we expect them to say something. Commendations or whatsoever.
Maybe I can give you my view on. I'm not a member of any political party, like I said, but I'm just an observer. And for me, I do critical thinking. You know what the political parties are doing. I know they are not afraid. We got capable men in the Unity Party, in the LP, and all the other parties. We got capable people. But like most people always say, imagine you, the layman, just advocating for your fellow citizens. People call you all kinds of names. People say you're undermining the government. People say it's too early to condemn the government. So the political parties say, let's just wait and see. Now, the Liberian people will have to learn lesson the hard way, because the people said this president was not qualified to be president. All the political parties said it. People know the campaign and all these things. But the Liberian people chose to go the way they went. Now, without any doubt, President Weah is our president. So, my friend, unless President Weah can do something that can cause a legislature to call for impeachment proceeding against him. But other than that, if just what we're talking about, appointing his brothers in government or appointing unqualified people, my friend, that will go for 12 years. Nothing can happen. President will still be president. So no matter how we cry, no matter how much the political parties there, here and there, they will not do anything. They will not make any effect. The political parties, the opposition parties are supposed to be saying, we are even saying more than that. We are saying more than that. But what's happening? No. Like Madam Coffee Brown said, she enjoys the confidence of the president, so she can do whatever the people cry against. If it costs us to do it 10 times, she can do it without any remorse or conscience. So the political parties are saying, okay, you know what? In any case, if we start to talk too early, they say, oh, we try to undermine the government. So this is a government the people put in place. So let's sit and watch. Let's give the government time. And I agree with the political parties. No need to start running beyond President. Give him chance.
There you go.
He got 6 years to go. You know, my grandfather used to say, the devil that can dance fast, he quit to get tired. Anytime they having program, you see, they putting all the door there outside. See, one to start dancing so fast. It will not stay long. It will get tired. So let the president, let the government run. It's too early. And let me tell you, we say all of these things. It will sound like we're talking against President Weah. But let me be in favor of President Weah a little bit. If our President Weah, I'll find the tax very difficult. Number one, nobody can take training to become president, but he has never been in the top hierarchy of government before being senator for 3 years. Okay. Two, he took over a system that is, I can say, practically broke and confused. There is no system in place in Liberia. The whole government, there is no system in place. So a new man coming into this thing and without any experience, trying to make good name also at the same time. Look at what the brother did. When the public was complaining about rice, the president had to go sit down. We'll come to that story and say, I'll talk about that. But then the president is in a position where he wants to please the people because he has promised the people, the hopes are so high. And these kind of people that we are dealing with, they are not people who can rationalize. All they know, they voted for George Weah promised them, so George Weah must deliver. So he's in serious predicament. I'm telling you, if you ask the president, he will tell you. If you have one-on-one, they say, oh, Mr. President, how is this job? He will tell you. So the tax is big for him. But the opposition party don't want to, the opposition parties don't want to put fire on him now. So let us, that was just playing low so that he can continue until maybe he might one day confess, or he might even call somebody and say, no, listen, I need advice.
Okay, that's Mr. Linford Gweh, formerly of Kiss FM in Monrovia, Liberia, based here in Europe now. Of course, a very, very busy man as well, working hard, raising awareness, and of course, propounding on the issues that have the propensity at least to move our country forward in a positive direction. We are here on the print news show this morning. Of course, we'll be back later this evening for the print news review and a lot more. Let's take this last story, and then Linford, I will replay. Hopefully, I think we hear it. You will hear it. I will replay the visit of our president to Nigeria, and of course, his short interview at the RIA upon his return. There was this issue when the issue of the 6,000 teachers came up. I think the president was trying to actually withdraw the statement. First of all, when he said 6,000 teachers are coming in to teach. In that interview, which of course I continue to play, but I'm still confused. Perhaps I know maybe you must have talked about it, but let's hear from your personal perspective whether the president himself has actually confused himself in trying to make us to understand, or he actually said things that actually make complete sense for all. But let's do this last story from the Front Page Africa, which says that President Weah urges cabinet ministers to employ based on competence. Let's take a gist of this story. In fact, it's not that long. Let me read the story to you for the benefit. President George Manuel Weah has urged cabinet ministers to employ based on competence and not along party lines. And I know my brother was just talking about it. President Weah made the statement March 11, 2018, during the 53rd birth anniversary of Ambassador Claire Marie Weah held at the Winner Chapel in Odes, Congo Town. He reminded his cabinet to ensure employment is based on competence and not on party line, since the government aims to bring change and not to continue on the old path. President Weah described the First Lady's birthday as a special day in his life and a blessing, especially celebrating with his wife on her natal day in a church. The Liberia leader said although he is not perfect, however, promised to do his best to be a people-centered president. He assured Liberians that he will prioritize the less fortunate in society and the wayward children known as Zokos to become useful citizens after a prolonged civil war in Liberia. He furthered that his wife was able to mentor him during the civil war by challenging him to reach out to the Liberians who were languishing in refugees camps across the sub-region by helping to bring relief to their shelters' lives. Okay, President Weah said, like his grandmom and mom, what does that mean? Okay, yeah, his grandmom and mom, the First Lady is an inspiration to him. Speaking, Ambassador Claire Weah thanked President George Minor Weah for the opportunity afforded her to serve the Liberian people and promised to reach out to all in her power by the grace of the Almighty. Madam Weah also applauded the people of Liberia for electing her husband and promised to work with him to bring Liberia to its pre-war status. Earlier, Pastor Chidibera Mibuku of Winners Chapel cautioned the Liberian leader to be steadfast in administering the affairs of the nation. Pastor Mibuku challenged President Weah not to be distracted but remain focused. Finally, he said, because a leader is born, that is why the Liberian leader was overwhelmingly elected to make the difference to the well-being of the electorate. Good story, though.
Yeah, good story. Well, you know, when the president talks about people should employ based on merits, not based on nepotism or friendship, I think that's a clarion call. That's a good call. I fall in love with him. He got my backing on that. But you know how implementable such a call can be when just next door at the Freeport of Monrovia, we are hearing that three of his brothers are in the they were employed just the same time. I got nothing with employing his brothers. They are Liberians like me. But like I said before, put them to different entities. I know, even if, okay, we got different sections in the maritime. If those people, like one of them, I understand, is a strategist, foreign relations strategist, that one can stay there. The one who did maritime, got maritime background, he can carry into the maritime bureau. Okay? The other one, put it somewhere. Now, if he makes a call, and then we are looking at three of his brothers at the port. So then if one minister B or one minister of ministry B takes his wife, daughter, and son and employ them, what will we say? Because the president should set the example. I mean, listen, we don't, every time, let me tell you, you and myself, let's move you and I, because we are in the media. But the ordinary person walking in the street will say, oh, the president was stealing yesterday.
Yeah.
They say, but me as a media person, if I say the president was stealing yesterday, they say, who said it? Linford. Oh, the newsman. It will become important. Similarly, so it's a president. Presidents to that joke. The other day I was on my show and something, okay, yeah, we were discussing the same 6,000 teacher stuff, And one of my viewers made a comment and said the president was just joking. I said, no, presidents do not joke.
No.
So if we meet the president outside, we're playing football because he's a football player, we're all practicing, and he come and joke. He says, gentlemen, I'll kick you. We know that's a different issue. But on policy issue, presidents do not joke. No. So the president could not go to Nigeria and say, you bring 6,000 teachers, then you say you're joking. No, that's besides the point. But when it comes to this, employment based on merit, I think the president should be very serious about it. Let him set an example. Let him have people like Mrs. Coffee Brown at the port withdraw her statement that if she has to do that 10 times, she will do it.
Yeah, that I agree with you indeed. If what the president is saying actually he means business, then obviously I think by now we expect him to get in touch with the acting managing director.
Yeah. My camera is upside down. Do you see me?
No, it's okay. Yeah, it is in the same position. Good. Yeah.
Okay.
So I agree with you on that. Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. So I think the president should set an example, and he should. There are certain statements that some of the minister or people in government will make that can have bad repercussion on the government. So let him be very, very mindful, because some of these people, let me tell you, some of these people, the mistake they make, it may not follow them. It may follow the president. That's my point, because the president is the head. I mean, I was around the Chancellor regime. Everybody, Chancellor. If you know Chancellor, most of the things they attribute to him is not him. It's not him. But because he was the head of the snake. So, yeah you understand what I mean? So let the president think twice.
Okay. Great. Let the president think twice. Okay, you're listening to the show. We just about almost finished. We're going to do the last story now, but this one, we're going to listen to this particular clip here when our president met with President Muhammadu Buhari in Nigeria recently. Still, we are still to understand as with respect to who is actually coming. The president said teachers, and he said, they call it experts. So they kind of baffling around. But let's listen to the president when he was addressing a platform along with the Nigerian president.
Federal Republic of Nigeria, distinguished members of the Nigerian government here present, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, first of all, allow me to thank you for the invitation extended to me and my dedication to make this state visit to you and your government. We have come on a mission of gratitude and respect for the extraordinary and exceptional role that you, our Nigerian brothers and sisters, have played and continue to play in maintaining peace, stability in the West African sub-region, and more particularly in Liberia. Although yours is the largest economy in Africa, with the most powerful army in our sub-region, you have never used your wealth, your military powers to expand your territory, threaten your neighbors, or destabilize any sovereign nation in the region. Instead, you have dedicated your resources and expertise to establish and maintain peace in West Africa and to even enforce it when deemed necessary by the protocols of your regional associations. You have stood up steadfastly and with all exception for freedom and the rule of law in our sub-region, and you have consistently taken the risk of putting boots on the grounds when democracy has been threatened, as well as the case with Liberia during our civil conflict. Many of your brave and courageous men and women in arms have become martyrs in freedom's cause, and to them and to their families we owe a debt of gratitude that can never be repaid. You are indeed your brother's keepers. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Campaign elections and inauguration are now over, and the real work of governance has begun in Liberia. Hopes are high, and expectations are even higher. We inherited a broken system since the Ebola epidemic and the withdrawal of the UME peacekeeper from our country. Our economy has not recovered. The prices of our two basic export commodities, rubber and iron ore, continue to fall on the world market. Our diminishing foreign exchange earning from the export of these and other commodities are used mainly on the importation of food and other commodities, causing massive trade deficit. Youth unemployment is at an all-time high, and prices of basic commodities continue to increase. Our people have voted for change and for hope, and change is finally here. But mere political change is meaningless without development, prosperity, and growth. Your Excellency, we need Nigeria's help to jumpstart our economy. You play a major role in bringing peace to Liberia. You reformed our army, and today it is performing its duty to the highest professional standard. As we speak, they are serving in a peacekeeping mission in Mali. You have also built and expanded the capacity of Liberians in so many ways. For example, during our recent observance of Armed Forces Day in Liberia, we were informed that 2 of our military personnel will soon be graduating as pilots from one of your esteemed institutions. We would like to see a continuation and expansion of that program for both men and women. My administration pro-development agenda is intended to tackle the many economic and social problems that my government has inherited, especially in addressing the large fiscal and infrastructure deficit, the urgent problem of youth unemployment, and reviving the education, agriculture, mining, and health sector. Your sustained technical assistance for capacity building in this sector is most needed. For example, Nigeria teachers and medical volunteers to Liberia under the Technical Assistance Corps type agreement with Liberia have been very crucial in boosting capacity developing in Liberia. And it is my hope that this assistance can be considerably increased to address with urgency our most pressing social economic needs at this time. More specifically, under the bilateral teacher exchange program, we are seeking 6,000 plus teachers to make up for the shortage of good teachers in our educational system.
Right. Linford, let me hold that request there, which of course is still being denied or refuted by some seditions that the president didn't request for 6,000 teachers. We just heard it there. Let's listen briefly when he arrived at our IA, and of course the question came back again.
He will be speaking to you guys briefly.
Mr. President, welcome back to Liberia. My name is from the Ministry of Information. While you are in Nigeria, there are this positive news about some teachers trying to step in the education sector. Will you mind telling us how many are they, how soon are they coming?
Well, first of all, good to be back. Let me now say that my responsibility is to go out there to strengthen our bilateral relationship with all of the nations that we have treaty with. And I spoke to the education minister, so we have a gap of 6,000 teachers that I were missing, and then I think what I did was go into Nigeria and ask for experts to come and fill in those gaps, to come and train so they can fill the void. So that to promote education, it's important that We get people to train our people because we know that we have trouble with our sector. I spoke to the minister, and what I did was to go out and look for people to come and help to strengthen the sector so we can have more people. But not to go bring 6,000 teachers into the country. No, we have them already. But we're bringing experts to make sure that we fill that gap of the 6,000 that we're missing so they can be trained.
How many of them? How many of them are they coming?
Whether we don't know how many experts to send in.
All right. Okay. Yeah, you're not going there. Our president, you know, I don't know. You know, Linford, I decided now not to really listen to the president of what it has to do with maybe the way he the choice of words or so. But most of these most of what the president says is always written anyway. That what when he was addressing the Nigerian leader and the rest of the people there, he was reading from script. But I found it very, very, very difficult to comprehend whether indeed what is written is the way the president, or the way it's written is the way the president is reading it. Because if that is the case, then what we just heard just now, I have serious problem. And I can tell you, Linford, if our president do visit the United Kingdom here to meet the Prime Minister, Theresa May, Theresa May was struggling a lot to understand. I experienced that when I came here. You know, we both that we speak English, but brother, even when I started at university, I used to, you know, say I'm speaking English, but then somebody will keep telling me, sorry, I didn't get that, you know, one thing. So there's a serious problem, but let's address this. And let me tell you, I don't know whether you have seen the video, but in this video, especially the one from when he arrived at RI, I expected the information minister, Eugene Nangbe, to have been in the position where the other gentleman with the uniform is standing. The reason being is that the information minister, as far as issue of such is concerned, supposed to be the right-hand man read by the president. And our leader continued to make some mistakes, because I even observed that when we went to, when he came down to Paris, I went there to cover the program. I think you saw it. And it got to the point where the chief of protocol announced that, you know, he would take 3 questions from the audience, the Liberian community. And I was the first person that was recognized. Linford, I went with 6 pre-noted questions. A week before he came, when I got to know, I contacted, you know, reputable people that are supposed to arrange interview. So I actually asked for one-on-one with the president. So at least my 6 questions, I would have had a one-on-one with him and asking those questions. But because that didn't materialize, when they say we are restricted to only 1 question or so, thank God I was packed. And then I stood there and asked the president. I said, President, it was based on the economy. So I asked my question based on the economy. So our president, in the midst, thank God there was no foreign journalist there. In the midst of all of us, he told us and told me that, you know, I'm not an economist. My finance minister will answer that, will address that other question. And I was just standing there like, wow, in my heart. Okay, then this is where we are. And then I only did the next thing. I only presented a copy of the book I wrote for second and third graders for Liberia. I said, Chief, you calling for us to go help. This is my own way of helping to rebuild the educational sector. But this is it. And he pointed at the finance minister, who was also seated, at least just 2-3 people were between them. Now, I was looking at the finance minister too within a split of seconds, that maybe he would have come in and answered that question for the, you know, for his boss or on behalf of his boss. But he too kept his silence. He didn't answer. And, you know, I just left the floor. Now, this is where we are. if these individuals do not know their responsibility, let me forget about the president. In this photograph here, in this video, where I saw or where we can see Eugene Nangbe standing, that shouldn't be his position, honestly. Because by the time this story came out, they were in Nigeria. The president heard that Liberian people were not satisfied, that they need some clarification about these 6,000 Nigerian teachers. But to you personally, from listening to the two clips or so, do you get any, I mean, direct sense of what our leader is trying to say? I mean, between these 6,000 teachers and saying no, they are not 6,000 teachers, they are professionals also.
Let me just start by saying that the president did indeed say he went to seek 6,000 teachers. Why do I say so? He was in Nigeria. He made reference to the bilateral agreement on teacher exchange program between Liberia and Nigeria. He made reference to that and he said, we are seeking. My friend, even if you can't understand English, there are certain things somebody will say you understand. To seek means to do what? To look for.
Yeah.
Okay? So, Max, if I come to your house, you are a talk show host. I'm a talk show host. I say, my man, my microphone is not working, but I'm looking for a microphone. What do I expect you to do? To give me microphone, right? Very good. Like I said, this president is in a confused situation. The president is not confused. Get me straight. The situation the president is in is confused, not the president. Get me straight. Because some of you go to jump on people. The situation the president is a confused situation. Now, the president wants to so much please we the Liberian people. So he's going to the extreme, doing a lot of things on our behalf. The president actually said he is seeking the assistance of the Nigerian government to give us 6,000 teachers. That's what he was reading. That's the implication of what he said. Fine. But he didn't know the ramifications or the feedback that Liberians would give. So while he was in Nigeria, the whole story backfired. Now, I had a problem. I want to publicly say sorry to Sam Mana. I don't know him, but he and I have had some strong exchanges on the internet before. I was one person who went and wrote on my wall and posted in several groups that the president should dismiss his press secretary at once. Why? Because the president was still in Nigeria. When the press secretary went ahead, he didn't go with him. He went ahead and published this thing that the president had asked Nigeria to send 6,000 teachers. And when the president came back, before I listened to the interview from Rabosi, I was on my program, I was on my Talking Point show, we were discussing this thing. And I was saying that there is inconsistency between the press secretary and what happened in Nigeria. Yeah. So just while we were discussing this issue, one of my listeners or one of my participants got this video. He said, oh, but I just got the president just arrived and he just clarified. So let me send it. He sent the second recording that you just played. Then I told my audience, wait, let's play this video and listen. Then the president said he went to seek experts. You know why? If you have time, play that clip over and over. You see that the president was fumbling. He didn't know what to say. I went to look for, because he tried to do what we call damage control. The damage was done. He tried to control it.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of things happened. I thought the president did not want that story to go before he comes back. Probably that would have been his address to the nation upon his return. That okay, I've been there to see. But they were so fast to publish the story. Yeah. So when they published it backfired. The president remained in Nigeria. He heard about it. So he was looking for a way to fix it. That's why he kept saying, "I went to look for expert." My friend, the president read a note. You read and you said you're seeking teacher. So what is the difference between teacher and expert? You think we don't know? We know what is different between teachers and experts. You say expert. So expert in which area now?
This is why I'm saying, I quite agree with you. In fact, I'm on your back these few days. As Sam Mana and the President Public Affairs. On your back, I told them, I said, look, there's a need that you people should actually update this particular website here.
Yeah, but Max, I'm not continuing. Let me just tell you something. The first thing Sam Mana went on a talk show, and he said he works alone. He doesn't have a deputy one, so it's a one-man show. And President, we have Nelson Mandela on the internet. These are the internet journalist. I don't even know his background in journalism. So they pick him off on the internet. They pick him off on the internet, and they put him on. In that position. So he's still operating on the internet. I'll tell you one short story about Sam Manna and me. How we fell up. Sam Manna, we got Akara Gweh, who is representative in Liberia. During the Ebola, we, the Liberian Association in Norway, we sent some items to Liberia. We were looking for a way to clear the containers to relieve items. We can't, because Akara Gweh family, they got some family members here. So they said, but our son, Akara Gweh, can help to clear the container. Indeed, he did it, along with one other representative. So we decided that since they did a good job for us and the container were cleared very fast, they as representative could have some of the items to also distribute in that area, not in their own name, but in the name of our organization. They agreed. When Akara Gweh went to distribute the items, Sam Manna brought a story. This is why we label CDCs. They can help that people. Akara Gweh, he talked to some friends in Norway, and they sent relief organization for CDC. So I reported that story strongly, and if I say Manna not to ever do that. Akara Gweh, I also advising he shouldn't use our organization name to promote his organization. To promote his representative job. Okay, so same Manna, because this is a boy. I don't know his journalistic background anyway. He doesn't investigate story. Number one. Number two, it seems as though the Ministry of Information is not working, because from what I should know, the Ministry of Information the Ministry of Information should be the one, giving press releases on the president's travel thing, not the press secretary. No. The press secretary will only arrange the press conferences when the president is supposed to address the press. The press secretary is not supposed to be writing releases. Okay, so we don't know who is functioning. Like in the case of Eugene Nangwe knows better. But probably they are not being giving Eugene Nangwe the chance to work, because, like I said, he found Sam Manna from the internet. So Sam Manna is so used to posting on the internet, so he doesn't even probably consult Eugene Nangwe in some of these things. Who is the minister proper? I know Eugene Nangwe. Eugene Nangwe and myself worked together for a long time. There's certain things I can back Eugene Nangwe on, and certain things without backing on. This one I can back Eugene Nangwe on it. Probably Eugene was not informed. Okay, and so there is a lot of gap. There's a lot of gap in between here. Somebody doing something that they're not supposed to be doing, but they think they're supposed to be doing it. Yeah. See? So that was a very embarrassing situation. And the president, indeed, I will tell you, I will challenge anybody to convince me that the president did not do it, because what the president was presenting in Nigeria, he was reading from the written script. And what he said at RRA was just extemporaneous. So I know what he read was something that was written. We got record for it. If they say he didn't say that, let them publish the speech he read in Nigeria. Let them get publish it. Let's see.
But from the start of the speech in Nigeria, honestly, our president, he know how to put the words together to bagel. He praise the Nigerian, he praise.
Oh no, but man, let me tell you, I want to get it back on the president. Right now, man, even myself, if I had the opportunity to meet the Prime Minister of Norway or the King, I casually I say, no, Mr. King, let me tell you, I would tell you in our broken Norwegian, I say, let me tell you, we need help. Can you help us? So the president is doing well. To beg is doing well. The
choice of words for begging is really in the proper direction. Anyway, Linford,
they made African men.
Let's get the responses from our wonderful followers as well before we end the show here this morning. Okay, quickly, Loretta says that means this new government payroll is very high than what Ellen's government was receiving. What an interesting country. That is also a change. Of course, that's the time we're talking about the budget. But she been talking about this increasing of their salary before when she was VP. That was the reaction. Michael Chi, of course, also say here, how can you start to run a government in crisis and refuse to conduct an audit? I think the rationale for refusing to conduct an audit is to allow all those corrupt officials, past and current, to carry on with impunity. At the detriment of the masses. Michael, thank you, Stu. Let's say James Davis say here, my brother, why are you worrying that Liberia she will be confirmed as minister mark my word, for today. Okay, that's the time we're talking about the deputy minister for
deputy administration for administration.
Yeah.
Let me ask something to what I could that writer wrote. Let me tell you, Liberia will not be the same. President Weah, if somebody is listening to this show and tell President Weah, that lady will never be confirmed. Trust me. The same thing that happened to Charles Gibson will happen to this lady. Trust me on that.
We hope for that. Okay, James David, that's it. James David is back again. That is same with the Liberian teachers. No matter who trained them, it will still continue. The American trained the police of Liberia. So I mean, that's the time we're talking about. So the American trained us, and then they left us, and we stay. I think everything we learn about not corrupting, but you know, we skip that. Maybe that one they didn't talk about it in the training that you shouldn't corrupt. Okay.
No.
Muna Mo Greer, as you say, yes, speak out your mind. CDC has nothing to do with this. Okay, thank you. Rabo Zawu, you 100% right, my brother. I think that's the time we're trying. You were addressing the issue of this the payroll issue. Okay, let me see. Michael is back. Unfortunately, most of the political parties are not parties of continuity. They are particularly inactive or non-existent after elections. I agree with it. That's the time I was talking about. Yeah, asking the question of where are the opposition political parties. And finally, Michael Che is back. I will take this his clarity in good faith. I think what is important now is to get technicians at the Ministry of Education to work out the working of strategic plan. They are to determine the number of experts and at what level of the sector. I quite agree with you. Oh, I see what. Okay, all right. I quite agree with you on this particular one. In the I don't even know if the Ministry of Education was discussed with by the president office.
That is one thing that I was worried about, because Dr. Ansu Soni had come out just a few days before the president went to Nigeria. He came out and he outlined a number of action plans that they have to better the situation in Liberia, among which he said teachers will be licensed. Graduating from KRTDR or ZRTDR does not automatically qualify one to stay in the classroom. You will be given another evaluation test, or you undergo another evaluation procedures to make sure that you qualify, and then you will be licensed upon that. Okay, that was something that people, and then in fact, a number of them went on. We also discussed on my program, because they also said they will find businesses that will sell alcoholic drinks to students. How does one person know, one know who is a student when the guy's not in uniform? We don't have age limit. We don't have anything to determine the age limit. Like in Europe, if you are 18, you go. If you are under 18, you go to buy alcohol. You have to present your ID card. We don't have that system in Liberia, and all these kind of things. So we're thinking at least the Ministry of Education was on the right footing, trying to put into place those measures. Then it didn't even take 2 days. Mr. President went to Nigeria to go beg for 6,000 teachers. Nigeria that just less than 4 or 5 months ago, disqualified thousands of their own teachers from the classroom. You think Nigeria is going to give you their best to bring here? No. Nigeria will not give you their best teachers to bring here. Those same junkies that they cannot continue in the classroom are the ones they're going to be sending to us. Why we can look at that? We are so desperate. Being so desperate can lead you to make greater mistakes that you cannot recover from.
Indeed. Okay, let's Linford. On this note, let's just call it a day here. But in terms of that request for the 6,000 students, I was just looking at UNICEF reports on Liberia educational sector. We among 10 worst school system in Liberia. Let's say in the world, not even in Africa, in the world. Liberia is topping, is #1 on the list, 64%. Nigeria is included there. They rank 34, or they rank number 10 on the list, and they are about 34% in terms of not actually having quality education. Sierra Leone, which just next to us, they are not on the list. Ghana is not even there. We can't even talk about Ghana also. So now, why we couldn't have gone to Ghana, or we should have done a good research, even if we want let's say, professionals, people. And although it would be, to me, it would sound like an insult as well to the Liberia Teachers Association, because we got the LTR there. I think what I would actually have loved hearing from our president is, oh, we are going to, the educational budget is going to be increased this year because we want to revamp our TTR. And if it's possible, we will even bring, educational experts. We borrow them from other part of the world. If they can come here for 1 or 2 months to teach our teachers,
look,
fine.
Max, I told you earlier on, our country, there is no system in place. The education we're talking about, how can you even bring professional teachers or experts from Nigeria or wherever and bring them to schools where you don't even have look at the modern age we live in, every kid has on his or her desk some kind of little computer, something to play with. We don't even have it at the University of Liberia. You can bring, let me tell you, you can go to Harvard and bring that best. You can go to Oxford and bring that best. Still, in the absence of the modern age education that other people got, my friend, we are still zero. You got university students that cannot even open a word program on the computer, that cannot even, let me tell you one thing. Teachers are not our problem. Our problem is, let's put into place a system. Drive from Broad Street to Pinsway. Count how many schools we see in between there. Or go from Morel to Ralph. How many schools we got? Few. Okay? We got the population of school teachers in Liberia is so small. You go bring 6,000 people. So where you put the other people? Well, anyway. But the good thing is he denied. He said he didn't go to bring 6,000 people. He want to bring experts. But they asked him how many experts come in. He said he don't know. So
I don't know.
Maybe
okay, I don't know. Linford, on this note, my brother Linford, thank you so much. Also, let's say thanks to each other as well for the continuation of what you do as well in terms of raising the profile of Mama Liberia, where we are internationally. Of course, we do this work, like you said earlier, not for the benefit of ourselves, but at least for the benefit of the rest of the people. Right now, we do not have, like I said on Facebook, we do not have an opposition political party in Liberia to talk. Okay, the check and balance will have to be done by some of us who have the guts to say or to question the work of this government, and we will continue to question it. And for them to insist, for them to provide answers for us. From our end here, Linford, let's say thank you so much for your participation this morning. But keep your line open, my man. I'll be getting back to you, especially for this particular print news show.
Okay, no problem. It's always our pleasure to serve our Liberian people, because if we don't do what we have to do now, we'll have ourselves to blame in the next feature. So I thank you very much.
Okay, and just say thank you to our wonderful listeners, and of course those are watching as well, before you go.
Well, for those of you in the audience, we're happy to have you, because without you, like I always tell people who take part in my program, without you, the program would not be anything. Max will just sit there and talk for nothing. But with your participation, we appreciate that, because we know, listen, we're talking to you, those of you in the audience, you are the ones we are talking to. We are not talking to the concerned Liberians out there. They are the ones we're talking to. The people who have ears to hear, the people who care for Liberia, they are the ones we're talking to. We're not talking about those people who do not care about the country. Because if you don't care about the country, whether the government is doing the wrong thing or whatever, when we're talking, you will take it to be a different thing. But for those of you out there who are concerned about our country, are the ones we're talking to, and we appreciate whenever you come on, your comments. You don't need to talk. If you can't talk, you're not compared to talk. But your comments will mean a lot, because your comments, we can always go back on your comments and read and learn a lot from your comments. So we appreciate you a lot. Thank you.
Okay. All right, brother. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much, Linford.
Yeah, thank you, Max.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right.
Okay.